Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about the Watties because I won a Watty for my historical fiction book and my first book ever, A Patriot's Tale. And a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions, and some people want me to talk about the process of writing the book and what my reaction was when I found out, like all that stuff. So this is basically a Q&A, but I don't have like questions I'm gonna pull out of a hat. I've been getting so many that are the same or similar, so I'm just gonna like freeball it. Who cares, right? We're gonna start in the beginning, pre-wattpad. I was in middle school when I started A Patriot's Tale. I was like 12 or something around there, and I'm almost 28 now. So yeah, it's been a hot minute. Okay, that was my first ever book. And I remember starting it. I actually have the journal, which is all beat up and stuff. And it's nothing like what you see on Wattpad today. I would hope not, because that was a dumpster fire. And I don't really like opening that journal because it's so bad. But you at 12, 13, whatever it was, yeah, of course it's gonna be atrocious. But it's still slightly embarrassing. Then I took a big break, like 5 years. I wrote half of it, took a 5-year break because I was going through some things, and then I started it back up again like the last year of college, but it was very touch and go. Like, it wasn't great either. None of it was great up until like, a year ago when I finally finished it. And then that was just doing edits on it, like basic typo stuff and fixing sentence structure and paragraph structure, yada yada. But overall, it was 2 complete rewrites and 6 drafts of A Patriot's Tale. Ha! Yeah, so don't give up on your book, because I didn't give up on that book. It took a long time. There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of coffee. There was a lot of self-doubt and imposter syndrome on just that one book. But I did not want to give up on it because I love Lily. I love the other characters. I love the story itself. And I wanted to make a historically accurate new adult historical fiction novel. A good 6 months was researching the American Revolutionary War, specifically in South Carolina, and everything that had to do with that. That includes sexism and homophobia, PTSD, specifically combat PTSD, but also anxiety, depression, a bit of OCD that can stem from PTSD. Then also learning and researching about just the area itself that I came up with. Bamberg is made up, but everything else is real. That took a little bit to get to know. I had to look at a map during that time and figure that all out, and I just placed Bamberg just kind of in the middle of it all, so it all made sense. Their raids, their travels, all of that made sense. So, and there are some generals, commanders that are real. Captain James Thomas is not real. His lackeys, I'm gonna say lackeys, aren't real. Lily and her family and friends aren't real. There are some, like Ezekiel Polk, he's real. So there's some people that are real, but they're on the outskirts because they're doing other stuff in South Carolina. But I really wanted to bring that in because that's the point of historical fiction. What are Like, I personally like creating towns and people and then surrounding them with real life towns, cities, generals, famous people. Just because you have a little more leeway with playing with characters that aren't real. So for the Watties, I put in A Patriot's Tale in 2018, 2019, and 2020. I was shortlisted for 2018, but didn't make it. Heard nothing in 2019. And then in 2020, this year, I won for historical fiction. And I was in a Discord chat. We were all watching the video, the live video on YouTube together with Nick and Keely. So we were just, I wasn't drinking. It was like in the AM for me, but there were other people that were celebrating with drinks, right? Oh my God, it's so cute. And just watching it live time with all of my friends on this Discord, and it was very fun. It got to the historical fiction part, and I was sweating a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, I was like, okay, I need cold. I need something because I am sweating right now. I am nervous. My heart was beating really fast. And then they said A Patriot's Tale, and I freaked out. And everyone in the Discord freaked out because we're all watching it live time, and we're like, oh my God, she won! Ah! And I was crying. Yeah, I was crying. And I couldn't type because my hands were shaking from just the adrenaline rush of being named a winner in the historical fiction section after 3 years in a row. Okay, so like, yeah, 3 years in a row submitting the book, and then finally, like, the third time's a charm, isn't it? It is, because it won the third time. And then they they quoted what I said. I forget the wording of it. So there was, you filled out the form, and it asked, like, why did you write it? And then the other one was, if you won the Watty, what would you say? So they picked the one where I explained why I wrote A Patriot's Tale, and that was what they read, which was I wanted to have a historically accurate book with a female lead that was simultaneously vengeful and kind of angry. Lily is pretty angry at the British, but also kind. She's a good person, but she just has this vengeful rage in her because her whole family was murdered by the British, and she wants to take them down. Economy that people don't think about, because some people say you can't be a good person if you want to, do what she did, but I would definitely argue against that, of course, because it's the whole book. And then I said the second part was I wanted to be accurate, involving PTSD, specifically combat PTSD, sexism, homophobia, and racism. Because if you don't include that in a historical fiction novel about war, I don't think that personally is a good book. You're writing about history and you make it with 20th or 21st century ideals for all of your characters. I don't think that's historically accurate. So that's why there is a lot of hard, tough, uncomfortable scenes in A Patriot's Tale where there is homophobia. I have Lily who wants to fight, but they're not letting her fight because she's a woman, and they look down on her because of her sex. And you know, she pushes against it and a few other characters push against it, but, you know, if it's the leader, Shauna Riley, saying, you just need to stay in and just stay in Bamberg and just sit there and, like, we'll tell you what to do. That is what it was back then, but that is not what we accept in the 21st century. And that's hard for people to read. However, we can't forget about how far we've come and how much we need to do more. And this is definitely something that needs to be written about accurately, my personal opinion. The other thing was racism, and it's just, I would say, factually inaccurate and absurd when you have writers writing during this time period and in the South. This is South Carolina, and you're not going to even mention, not even going to mention that there was slavery. There were free men and women that were fighting during the Revolutionary War, and what happened to them, or what was happening to them when this war was going on. You're not going to mention it at all. You're not even, but, like, I'm sorry, that's just not, I don't like that. That's absurd. So we touch on a lot of things in A Patriot's Tale, and a lot of it is difficult and uncomfortable, but I think it needed to be said because this is history and we're not going to repeat it. We're going to remember it, we're going to read about it, we're going to write about it, and that is one of the many, many ways where we can remember what happened in our history so we are not doomed to repeat it. And I think that is a very important for no matter what historical timeline or historical topic, anything historical, I'm on the bandwagon of it needs to be written about, and we're not going to gloss over it because that helps no one. We're not going to leave out parts that historically happened. That is not what history is about. History is about learning and remembering and writing down and discovering things that were not written down by the victors. We need to find everything that we can, gather it together, research it, teach it. We need to have an informed public for us to move forward as a society. That's where I stand. That is a lot. Some people will say that that is a lot for just a new adult historical fiction novel on Wattpad, but I am writing, you know, even if it's historical fiction on Wattpad, I am writing as an art form, and I'm going to really, you know, pour my heart out and pour the history of whatever time I'm talking about, but in this case, Revolutionary War, onto the page. And I think that, of course, with editing and rewriting and going through all those 6 long drafts that seemed to not end, but it did. I think what came out of all of that journey, of that like 15-year journey, wow, 15 years for A Patriot's Tale, that's what the end result was. Good enough, good enough for a Watty, and that really warms my heart, honestly, and it makes me really excited for the future. So thank you so much for watching this little chit chat with a little rant about historical fiction writers and how they should totally add in, like, you know, history and not gloss over it, and a little Q&A. Thank you so much for all of my readers, my family, my friends, for the Watty's team, for everyone on Wattpad that has supported me, and then the judges who judged this year's Watties, and to Nick and Keely for doing a fantastic job, not just because I won, but also just because the live stream was a fantastic idea. I hope they do that next year and just like all the years before, because it really, I feel like it brought everyone together for, you know, an event, and I think the Watties is an event to be remembered. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Wattpad reading day. Bye!